There is something intimate about listening to the same podcast regularly. You let that voice into your routine, into quiet moments, walks, car rides, folding laundry, late nights, early mornings, cooking dinner. That voice shows up consistently. It encourages you. It reminds you that you are capable, that you are not broken, that you matter. And over time, it starts to feel less like content and more like company. Sometimes that voice even says, I love you. And when someone speaks to you like that long enough, you do not just listen, you trust them. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Smart AF, the show where we cut through the noise and give you the facts straight up. This episode felt like the right way to begin 2026 with a conversation about trust. Before we go any further, I want to be clear about something. This episode is not a takedown. It is not about cancel culture. And it is not about whether someone is allowed to make money. It is about what happens when trust quietly turns into a transaction, when care starts to feel like marketing, and when a relationship that felt personal begins to feel commercial. This is not really a story about supplements. It is a story about parasocial relationships. I want to talk specifically about Mel Robbins. And I want to start here. I did not come to her work as a critic. I came to it as someone who genuinely found value in it. Her content is practical, accessible, focused on personal responsibility without shame. She speaks in a way that feels direct and reassuring, like someone who wants you to succeed. And over time, that builds something powerful. Not just influence, but trust. Which is why what happened next felt jarring to me. Not because a product existed, but because of how it was introduced and where it was positioned from. When the same voice that says, I believe in you, also says, buy this, something shifts. And that shift is what I want to examine. There is a term for this kind of dynamic. It is called a parasocial relationship. It simply means a one-sided relationship, where emotional connection is felt on one side, while the other person does not actually know you. On its own, this is not harmful. Humans are wired for connection. Stories and repetition create familiarity, but podcasts intensify this. They are not performed at you. They are spoken to you. They live in your ears. They accompany you through ordinary, vulnerable moments. So when a podcaster speaks warmly and consistently, your brain registers safety, and trust deepens, which is why context matters. Because when a message shifts from encouragement to recommendation, from support to sales, it does not land neutrally. It lands differently when it comes from someone you trust. The launch itself was not accidental. It was careful, intentional, framed through a personal story, reinforced by years of expert conversations, positioned as something she needed, and something many women need. And to be clear, that is not inherently wrong. It was a sophisticated, well-executed launch, a waitlist, a narrative arc, scientific language, a deeply engaged audience. But that is exactly where my discomfort began. Because the trust did not start with the product, it existed long before, built through motivation and emotional intimacy. So when the supplement arrived, I was not evaluating it like a neutral consumer. I was evaluating it through the lens of trust. Not, is this good? But if she says this matters, should I listen? And that is the moment I paused. Because once something makes you pause, the next step is understanding. So let us slow this down and talk about the science in plain language. This product uses two protein sources, whey protein and collagen peptides. They are both counted as protein on the label, but they do not function the same way in the body. Whey protein is a complete protein. It contains all essential amino acids in the right balance to support muscle maintenance and recovery. Collagen is different. It is missing key essential amino acids and does not support muscle protein synthesis in the same way. That means collagen can be useful, but it is not high-quality protein. So when collagen is added to a protein product, the protein grams stay high, but the protein quality goes down. On paper, the numbers look impressive. Biologically, the effect is different. Blending collagen into whey does not upgrade it. It dilutes it. And there is another layer people often miss. High-quality protein sources usually come with micronutrients and bioactive compounds that support overall health. This formulation does not. Adding isolated amino acids does not replace that. So what you end up with is a product that looks strong on the label, but does not deliver the same biological value as a pure whey protein, despite costing more. Protein is not just a number. It is about what your body can actually use. That is not a moral judgment. That is how protein quality works. If the product only works because you trust the person selling it, then the product itself is not doing the work. There is one more thing I want to say. When someone has a platform this large, the responsibility changes. Large audiences come with resources, experts, capital, teams, distribution, and that kind of power raises the bar. When a product can sell out instantly on trust alone, the question is no longer, can I do this? But am I setting the highest possible standard? Because smaller creators do not get that buffer. Their products must compete on quality alone. And when someone with massive reach enters health and wellness, they have an opportunity and a responsibility to raise the standard for everyone. For me, that is where I draw the line. Not because launching a business is bad, not because having influence is wrong, but because trust is valuable. And anything that benefits from it should be strong enough to earn it on its own. That is the part I care about. So, this is how I personally evaluate products now. I look past the brand, past the messaging, past who is selling it, and I ask simple questions. What is the main active ingredient and what is it actually doing in the body? Is it genuinely effective or does it just sound healthy and trendy? Does it deliver real biological results, not emotional reassurance or aesthetic marketing? What would a qualified professional say about it? Doctor, pharmacist, dietitian? And can I get the same or better outcome somewhere else for less money? Once I have those answers, I know whether I am paying for an effective product or just funding the name behind it. And I am no longer interested in paying for borrowed trust. Motivation should empower you, not quietly turn you into a customer. If this episode made you uncomfortable, that is okay. Discomfort is often where discernment begins. And if it made you pause, even briefly, then it did exactly what I hoped it would do. Not to tell you what to buy, but to remind you that trust is valuable. And anything that benefits from your trust should be strong enough to earn it on its own. That's it for today's episode of Smart AF. And remember, making informed decisions is your right. So before you believe the hype, get Smart AF. Thanks for listening. If you know someone who needs this info, please share this video with them. If you found this interesting, a thumbs up and subscribe would mean a lot. And tap the bell so you never miss an update. Disclaimer: this episode reflects my personal analysis and interpretation of publicly available information. It is intended for educational and commentary purposes only and does not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice.